Hello everyone. Okay, so this is an example of a project and it's a personal investigation, so it is a second year project. It's a very good one, but I wanted to sort of show you some examples of what you can do in terms of sketchbook presentation and certainly what it is that you can do in terms of how you develop. So just to sort of run through this, I'll put this on the system as well. So starting off with initial ideas. Okay, so artists are interested. This is some of Anna's work that she used from the second year as well. It's fine, we can do that. Yeah, so the really good cracking stuff that you do this year. There's no need to reinvent the wheel if you do something similar next. So she's looked at her key ideas, and this was Decay and some drawing. She used a fair bit of stuff that she produced previously. So this is where she really sort of started to break down what she wanted to move away from, because she was looking at something similar from last year, and what she wanted to move towards. Light was always an important part of Anna's work, and something that's really helped. High contrast, shadow, certain little areas of detail being picked out by high contrasting light, and you can sort of see in her first artist response and research there by Andrew Wyeth, and then looking at lighting, taking some really interesting photographs of just the everyday objects, doing some studies from, and developing those from photographs into paintings. And then as an out-of-book piece, she would normally do an out-of-book piece for each artist. So she's just looking at the everyday, what normally would be unremarkable, and elevating it to something which is quite fascinating sometimes with some of her painting. The monoprint there. Sort of developing on. I think her dad was doing some restoration in the house. Just looks like the exterior again. Some of this was used from last year. This is all new work. Again, photographing at interesting times of day, especially when you're looking at somebody like Hopper, for instance, and the early morning light that you can sort of see, and the difference that creates in terms of atmosphere and mood within your work. Especially within this hospital scene. Again, the everyday, she struggled with those tiles a little bit. And looking at sort of interiors and bathrooms and sinks, decayed entrances and interiors. At this point, we've all been through this now, looking at our artist, looking forward to combining everything all together and then creating your own development work. And she decides to look at sort of the everyday item, everyday object, still life. Develops some out-of-book pieces. So on the right, that was an out-of-book piece. She developed again. Sunlight, absolutely key. I did really like. I was hoping that she was going to look at these. I mean, these are still fantastic what she's done, but these interiors are just fab of the step ladder and stuff like that. Really strong photographs. Really does help. This photograph possibly not as strong as some of the others, but still has produced some outstanding work. And good use of light on these photographs, it makes her work a lot of the time to a final piece here. She's evaluated the project. Now, you've probably got about 3 to 4 out-of-book pieces in the full sketchbook. This student is a second-year student, so she's had obviously all her first-year work that she's used. She's also had from September up until January to work on this, so it's a great deal of time. And obviously, I would hope that this student receive an A star at the end of it all. So some lovely work. Hopefully that gives you an idea of a good example of development looking at interiors and objects, and that's useful to see. Thanks.